Okay, we're starting to see the home stretch here in our notes. So we have officially entered the modern art age. So everything we're going to cover from here on out is modern art, even though that still only puts us in the 1800s. It's still considered modern art. The late 1700s to 18th century is when modern art began, and we are still currently in the modern era. So all of these different things we're going to call are not large, sorry, shouldn't have gone through. They're not large eras in arts like the Renaissance or Baroque. They're styles, they're isms is what they're all called. They're movements, okay? So they're smaller, they don't last as long. Some only last for a year or two, some for 10 years, some for 20 years. But they're smaller little movements. But there's going to be a lot of paintings you're going to see, but all of these are considered modern art. What makes the modern art category is that we have a huge secularization of society. So most of the pieces you're going to see now don't have to do with the church. And we have social democracy. So a lot of things about freedom, a lot of social protest, all that. This is all within the last 200 years. And we have scientific progress. So this is what makes those modern art. So make sure you know those three things. Secularization of society. You might want to pause here so you can get all these. Social democracy, and scientific progress. Okay, so right now we're going to look at Neoclassicism, but be aware that happening at the same time is Romanticism and Realism, which we'll cover those next week. So Neoclassicism this week. Okay, so Neoclassicism starts in the late 1700s. It really starts because Napoleon attacks Europe, and as a result, he gets really into Roman and Greek art and architecture. And so Neoclassicism means new classic or new classic art, which means new Roman or new Greek. So, for example, we have this Wedgwood vase, which looks very much like red figure pottery from Greek. So make sure you understand that Neoclassicism means new Greek or new Roman. So it's brought back into style, and one of the main reasons is because Napoleon is all about that. Okay, all you'd have to do here is be able to recognize this piece as neoclassic. You can tell it's a little different. It's a little more stylized in Greek. The handles are a little more curved. It's just a little more smooth and fancy than the Greek art. Okay. All right. So we're going to cover architecture today. So you should notice it looks very Greek and Roman in style. And most of this is in the UK and France, but there's other places as well. So this is in America. So this is Thomas Jefferson's home, and the architect is Thomas Jefferson. So you do have to know that. Thomas Jefferson's home, the architect is Thomas Jefferson, and the actual name of this building is Monticello. Okay, but you can see, I hope, the Greek and Roman influence with the columns, with the dome on the top. Okay. So it's in Virginia. You can go see it today if you wanted to. Go for a drive. Okay, also our Capitol building. So the original Capitol building looked like this without the big dome on the top. And this is the part that is particularly in neoclassic style. The dome is added later. You do not have to know the architects, but be aware there were two of them because it was kind of built in different chunks. Okay, so the Capitol building, just be able to recognize that and know that it's in neoclassic style. A lot of our government buildings are. This is just showing you the dome now, just so you can see the final building. But if you'll notice here, you'll see these columns. Okay, the dome. The fact that it's so huge is not neoclassic, but the fact that there is a dome is neoclassic. Okay, don't have to know the architect. This is a building in Paris, I believe. Yeah. Pierre Vignon was the architect, and this is Les Madeleine, but you do not have to know any of that. You just have to know that this is a neoclassic style. If you remember the Parthenon, it is very much in the style of the Parthenon. Okay. This is the front of that building, very much the style of the Parthenon. Okay, definitely have to know this piece. This is the Brandenburg Gate in Germany. It is definitely a neoclassic style with its headpiece, post and lintel style right there. The wall, although it was not built to stand as a divider between East and West Berlin, It became a symbol of the division between East and West Berlin, just because of where it was. So although that wasn't its original intent, that's what became of it. And it's still standing today, even though the wall between East and West Berlin has come down. But you can go in and see the Brandenburg Gate and see where the wall would have been. So make sure you know that. Brandenburg Gate in Germany. Okay, let's do this slide and then we'll do paintings tomorrow. So why did Neoclassicism come into favor? What is it that brought this style, this ism around? And like I said earlier, one is that Napoleon favored classical Roman styles, and Napoleon took over a lot of France and further, so he spread that as he went. This was a reaction to Rococo, which was very frivolous, all about the gaiety and happiness and fun of life, and Neoclassicism was no nonsense. Okay, straight lines, everything, no asymmetry, nothing weird and wonky like there was in Rococo. Okay. And then the third thing should be a 3 here instead of a 1 again. In 1738, Pompeii was discovered. And I had showed you artwork from Pompeii earlier. Pompeii was the Roman city that was buried by ash by Mount Vesuvius. And they discovered that in 1738, and they found all the artwork, all those buildings, all perfectly preserved, and it led to a lot of interest in Roman art. And so that's why Neoclassicism comes back around. And that is the end of your notes for today.